We've decided that we want to start these meetings by taking the refuges of the precepts. And I don't know if anyone would like to request. If not, that's okay. But I'm going to share the screen, and I think that will give everybody access to the text.
I can request if I can read it. I've never done it before.
So this, yeah.
Oh, well, we could all do that, right?
Yeah, you could all do that together.
Oh yeah, a lot of people can do it.
We've done that.
I'll
Yeah,
do it with you.
Okay,
We'll do it.
we could.
Yeah, and anybody can join in.
Good.
And you're among friends, just remember that. We love that, Chris.
It's broadcasting out of.
I'm channeling Lynn.
I know. I thought you meant request the Dhamma talk. That one I've never done.
Oh, the Dhammas.
Maya Maye Tisaranena Saha Pancha Silani Yachama Dutiyampi Maya Maye Tisaranena Saha Pancha Silani Yachama Tatiyampi Maya Maye Tisaranena Saha Pancha Silani Yachama.
Ah, that was good.
Beautiful. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Buddhang saranang gacchami.
Buddhang saranam gacchami.
Dhammang saranang gacchami.
Dhammam saranam gacchami.
Sanghang saranang gacchami.
Sangham saranam gacchami.
Dutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi buddhang saranam gacchami.
Dutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi dhammam saranam gacchami.
Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi sangham saranam gacchami.
Tatiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi buddham saranam gacchami.
Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi dhammam saranam gacchami.
Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi sangham saranam gacchami.
Tisaranang gamanang nititang.
Ama ayeni.
Anatipata veratmani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Anatipata veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami. I undertake the precept to refrain from taking the life of any living creature.
Dina dana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Adinadana veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami. I undertake the precept to refrain from taking that which is not given.
Kamesu michachara veratmani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Kamisumi chachara veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami. I undertake the precept to refrain from sexual misconduct.
Musawada veratmani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Musawada veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami. I undertake the precept to refrain from false and harmful speech.
Suramarayama japa madatana veratmani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
I undertake a precept to refrain from consuming intoxicating drink and drugs that lead to errors.
Imani pancha sikkhapadani silena sukha tinyanti silena boka sampada silena nibu tinyanti tasma silam visodaye.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Like the voices of angels.
East Bay.
I haven't sung where we've been heading, so
It's a good start. It's a beautiful start.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Wonder if I could request we have a few minutes of meditation because I'm feeling so ungrounded.
Yeah, I was actually going to do that. That's perfect. Yeah, so let's get comfortable. It's good to notice what we're feeling. So we want to start that way anyway when we meditate. You know, how's the mind? How's the body? Sitting comfortably. Checking in. And particularly if we're feeling ungrounded, then we want to notice our feet on the floor. Again, this sounds so simple because, you know, the feet touching the floor, even if it's not right on the earth, it's right connected through this structure to the earth. And it's grounding. We can notice how our belly feels, how the abdomen feels. It's another place of grounding. Sometimes when we want to feel more solid, more secure, if we're used to following our breathing, we can notice the breathing right there in the low belly. Disciplines that focus on energy of the body, like Qigong or Tai Chi, they'll identify that area in the abdomen, a little bit below the navel, as the sort of seed of the power. That's the point where our power center is. It's very grounding. And sometimes grounding is just a matter of arriving where we are. Maybe there's a lot going on, a lot of busyness, distraction, maybe some emotions that we want to just set aside for the time that we're together. But we want to make sure that's not a repressive action, but a time of rest. Sometimes we can carry things that are on our mind, and then we benefit from just setting them down for a while with a promise to come back to it later and really be there, attentive, caring, where healing and unraveling can occur with those deeper concerns, maybe even the results of trauma. Really care for the mind and care for the body. But right now, we're just taking a break and letting everything relax. The muscles around your eyes, the muscles in your neck, your shoulders, your arms. I like to use the breath. I'll breathe in, taking in clean, oxygenated air, and then on the exhale, let go. Let a certain area of the body relax. With that exhalation, letting go of whatever carbon dioxide, impurities, stagnant air or space. Like a big sigh. You can relax the muscles in the chest, in the belly. Relax the back. Relax the arms and hands and the legs and the feet. Again, feeling the feet on the ground or feeling your seat, the chair, the cushion. You're here now, safe, with friends. And if you're online, from home or wherever you are, touching into a circle of friends. And sit for a while with our attention on our breath, if that's comfortable, or maybe some area of the body where there's comfort, where there's letting go. And just allowing that space for the body to become tranquil. Noticing any good feeling that arises in the body, pleasant feeling, joy or happiness. Those signs of relaxation, signs of ease. And our awareness is clear and present, but also gentle. non-judgmental. Whatever it is we're feeling physically or mentally, emotionally, it's okay. You can be present and aware. And begin to notice the mind becoming more calm, thoughts relaxing, inviting the thoughts to relax, the activity of the mind to become more and more calm. Taking a break from mental activity, observing it. Thoughts arise, that's fine. When they cease, that's fine. Whatever's passing through, we can notice it and let it go. You feel tired, you can just notice it. If it feels right, bring a little more energy into the system. Just to be aware, and maybe some thoughts that lift up the heart, a little more joy, a little more happiness. If there's restlessness or activity, agitation or worry, we can remind ourselves we're safe. There's nothing wrong. It's okay to let the guard down. Set aside whatever might be on the mind. And pretty soon you might notice that there's no desire for anything. You just be content. There's no desire to get rid of anything. But if that's not the case yet at this time, just seeing, being aware of that push and pull, knowing that it is very temporary. Wanting to get rid of two sides of the same coin. Really a wish for peace and contentment, for happiness, for stillness. Seeing with the Dhamma that whatever it is we're wanting to get rid of, it's not so important. Before very long, probably a very short time, the mind will turn to wanting something else or wanting to get rid of something else. It's okay. We can just observe that. Feel that separation between observing, the witnessing mind, and that energy, that push. I might just slow down till it falls away. So kind. No need to be anything, no need to become anything. Just enjoying the stillness. Ah, we're together now. Right. So last time we left off, we finished the chapter on the thousands. And today we get to talk about evil. Oh dear. Isn't there enough talk about evil?
Eve and I were talking about it earlier.
Yes.
Trying to see the contrast between the Buddhist view and the Christian view.
Uh-huh.
And she knows better the Christian view of it all. But I was just thinking of, I don't like the word evil. I see it as a noun, and I think Buddhism is something that flows, it's an action more.
Yep.
And I saw a couple of translations. One said wickedness, another one had detriment. That's the title for this chapter. Trying to find different words, but
yeah,
I think evil and the three poisons, greed, hatred, and delusion.
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is so closely related to affliction. It's really a disease. It's growing out of, obviously, delusion's the basis for greed and hatred as well. And yeah, it's like you said, it's a movement, not a fixed entity, like everything in samsara. It's a movement. Even our own, what feels so solid, our form, it's really a movement, a process. So yes, it's good to remember that good qualities, bad qualities, wholesome actions, unwholesome actions, they come into existence and go again. And we have some degree of agency about how we choose to behave and what we want to participate in and what we don't want to participate in. So what word should we use? Detriment? Naughtiness?
I
like the word evil.
You like evil?
I do, because I feel like it has a profundity to it, and I feel like evil
It's a real thing.
is the real thing. But I also like the reminder that it's not a noun, that it's
an
that
action.
Yes, because when I use the word, it's kind of gets fixed on a person, and I think that that's not true. To take that noun part out of it, that stuckness.
Right. Yep. That there's always a path of recovery. Even if we do wicked things.
The thing is, when you do something that's hurtful, you're hurting yourself. So what is it that reflects really that kind of your own self-destruction?
Yeah. And you may not, we know that not everybody is aware of that. They think they're hurting someone else. They think they're bettering themselves by putting someone else down or harming them or crushing them or getting them out of the way or being cruel or whatever it is. And of course, this is going to talk about the karma, the results, the vipaka karma that comes back to a person. So it begins with hasten to do good and restrain your mind from evil. When one is slow in doing good, one's mind delights in evil. Do you have an alternate translation there, Stephen?
I didn't bring anything else today.
Oh, okay.
The only thing in my own mind is somehow, and it's just because of my personal connection to evil action.
Yeah.
I sit better with evil.
Uh-huh.
You know, so as
Yeah.
it says, restrain your mind from evil actions. Learning.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Mhm.
I also like he who is slow and no, yes, his mind delights in evil. I feel like when you get that twisted up, you do delight in evil. You're just backwards, and you're all rewired in a back, you know, in that way.
And you know, one of the ways I've seen that is when people talk about their past. I somewhere the Buddha says, you know, don't delight in your bad past actions. But sometimes people joke about it and kind of glorify it a bit. And I think that that is unfortunate, you know, to not really just be more sober with what has happened in the past. Not to beat ourselves up, but to just really respect the power of that, the way we harm ourselves, as Carrie was saying, you know, by participating in evil action. Should a person commit an evil action, let them not do it again and again. I like that way better than committing evil. There's really something in the language, you know, it's like, yeah, you've done something wrong. You don't assume yourself to be bad. I really appreciate, sounds almost cliche-ish maybe in our culture now, but instead of talking about, you know, someone being bad, you talk about them doing things that have been bad. Makes such a difference. So should a person commit an evil action, let them not do it again and again, because you can see how that makes a groove in your habit patterns, in your mind. Let them not form a desire for it. For painful is the accumulation of those evil actions. I know I've experienced, not that, I don't think I ever wanted to do evil actions, but you get confused in this life because there's so many mixed messages. You know, like a lot of the role models that we have, you know, especially as you're growing up and kind of exploring life, the role models may not be so wholesome. So you try things and hopefully you learn. That's the idea.
I think when your mind, when you commit evil, when you do evil actions, and maybe there's a reward for it, a certain pleasure, and then it becomes repetitive, and then you are in the you're in the groove of being, you're not fixed, you won't be evil forever, but that is your pattern, and that you're on that track, and you don't see that there's another way to be. That's the desirable way to be. So I think for those of us outside of that, it's important to view that person as being stuck on that path.
Yeah, that they're really embedded in it, or it's embedded in them.
That's a good way.
So we just took had the precepts, right? That's a good way to see, you know, what are evil actions and what are good actions, or how to avoid evil actions. And in our culture, there are those times when killing is glorified. Go to war against. There's always the propaganda that the other side is the evil side. But is that the case? You know, from the Buddha's perspective, both sides are doing really bad things if they're killing each other. You know, that those are evil actions. And then, of course, there are all kinds of explorations and discussions into, is there ever a just war? Is there ever an appropriate time to kill? And I'm so grateful that the Buddha was like, no, he's unequivocal about it. But in growing up with talking about the differences in different kind of religious philosophies or practices, in the church I grew up in, there, you know, thou shalt not kill, you heard all the time, but you also were given the definite kind of accepted kind of going to war is an exception. If someone kills someone, then you know there was support, belief in capital punishment. You know, this I've talked about it before. There's this concept of redemptive violence being appropriate, and you see a lot of that in our culture, all the way back to fairy tales and mythology and a lot of the stories. So it's like coming to the Dhamma and really seeing the Buddha's approach. It's not so much about being righteous or something like that, or having a commandment, but it's look at the results. And it's all about, you know, you see the results of those actions. And I was just reflecting earlier today on the men that I know who went to war during the Vietnam War, and who came back with a lot of PTSD and who came back without any. And it had so much to do with whether or not they killed. You know, I mean, there's a lot of fear in that environment, no matter who you are. But if it's, you know, if you've been conditioned, encouraged, rewarded for actually killing others, there is a heavy price to pay. And that's, the Buddha's just like, you got to look at the results. And when we look at the other precepts also, see, if we're paying attention, we see the results. But then there can be a lot of confusion because our social standards are forged in samsara, in a world where there's a lot of gray. It's not all just perfectly black and white from the positions we see things.
Can you say something? It seems to be lacking any discussion of the middle way, which is the Buddha's message.
But the middle way isn't the middle between good and evil.
Okay, well, that's really good for clarity.
Yeah, because it's not moderation. If you look at the middle way, yeah, it's not indulgence and it's not austerities, but it's something completely different, really. It's a third thing that steps outside of both of those. And it's not about good and evil.
Okay, the word middle is a little bit
it makes it sound like it could be the middle of any extremes. Yeah. Yeah, thank you for that choice.
Can I ask something?
Yeah, sure.
How do you define the middle way? It's not this and it's not that.
It's the Four Noble Truths. It's the Noble Eightfold Path. So what you see in the Noble Eightfold Path is a complete system of how to live your life. And yes, it's not indulgence in sensual pleasure and getting as much as you can and as much as you want and living kind of the high, comfortable life without any real satisfaction. It's kind of hollow. And it's not, you know, taking the route of, you know, beating yourself up and denying yourself and practicing austerities and all of that, which was very popular at the time of the Buddha, but it's been popular through most religious systems where there's this, like, I'm going to purge my unwholesomeness by denying myself, starving the body or whatever, sleeping on beds of nails, whatever it is, wearing hair shirts and, all that kind of stuff. But instead, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration, and those first two that I purposely didn't include yet, right view and right intention, so it's by body, by speech, by mind, having the right way of looking at things, the right way of analyzing them, or the right way of behaving. And right, not meaning, sometimes it's called like the perfect way, but it's really the way that leads to peace and happiness and not to harm and degradation. And that's totally other. That is not in the moderation of have a little austerity and a little, like chocolate cake. It's like, it's not moderation. It's a completely different whole system of how things work. Yeah.
So, the way I'm hearing it is the middle, it's a very individual thing, and one has to be very mindful, because the middle way for me, I mean, it's not to commit the middle way has to take into account what is the most fruitful, beneficial action that I can take in this situation. And it might be a little different for someone else. It's like if I tended to be too hard on myself, the middle way might be to be a little more lenient with something. And the middle way for someone else who might tend to be a little lackadaisical about things, the middle way for them might be to lean a little bit harder on a more stringent path.
So I wouldn't form it the way you just formed it, because I don't see that as, let me see, how can I say this? It's like, yes, you're talking about, like Ajahn Chah would say, you don't give the same instructions to everybody, because if someone is veering off to the left, you tell them to go more right. And if somebody's veering off to the right, you tell them to go more to the left. Just like what you were describing. But it's coming into this way of behaving and holding things that actually is in accordance with Dhamma, with the way karma works, with the way, the true nature of reality. And that isn't different for different people. That is just the way it is.
But getting there is different.
Yeah, but that's true. But you're guiding it into the truth.
Yes.
So it's not like I've heard some people say, well, because you are worried about, cheating on your taxes, it's a bad thing for you to do. But for me, who doesn't worry about cheating on my taxes, it's just fine. I mean, people talk like that.
I'm not,
So it's like,
I'm not changing the ultimate.
Yeah, it's not different.
Goalpost.
Right.
I'm changing the approach to it. Is what I'm talking about.
And that also is true. We take a different approach depending on our conditioning and our character.
That's what I'm trying to.
Yeah. This is so true. And the Buddha gave so many different methods because of that. So many different meditation objects. Like when he talks about right effort is just like what you're describing. Tuning the lute. The strings are too loose, or the strings are too tight. And it ain't going to make pretty music. Yeah. But you don't do a little evil to overcome some, Yeah.
So what you're saying is, yes, and what you're saying is you don't wiggle the I don't like to use the word goal, but
The Dhamma isn't wiggly.
Yes, yes. The system is perfect the way it is.
Yeah.
And that's, so the mindfulness is about, is for one to know the most direct way to
Yeah, what you really need in this situation.
what you really need.
Yeah, what's really
Yeah.
going to help align with the Dhamma. And also it's not so black and white simple. Like you could say, okay, what if you kill, but you have a good intention? Doesn't that make it okay? Well, it's better than having an evil intention, but it's still going to be a mix of dark and light karma.
Mhm.
So it's like the karma still gets made. If you do a lot of good, then the evil action has less potency, but still it has potency. So it's kind of like, okay, the algorithm's complicated, you might say. We're not going to be able to figure it out, the Buddha said. But what we do know is there are negative results to harmful actions, and there are good results for good actions. And he's going to talk about that here.
Could I just throw one thing in it? I don't know if
Sure.
it's applicable now as it was a little bit earlier, but it's just that phrase. I just love this one. Whatever one frequently thinks or ponders upon will become the inclination of their mind.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so this is all about conditioning.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just in the moment. I mean, it's like, what are you thinking about when you're just walking down the street alone?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all those things are going to be conditioning next moment.
Yeah.
And who knows what will be your next encounter with the person. And then that's going to be what comes out.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just always really love that phrase.
Yeah. Yeah, it's in the Dhammapada. We saw it earlier. It's important.
Yeah, it's all in those important places. It's our wily mind that we're dealing with.
Yeah, there's an awful lot of conditioning in there. And to recognize that that's not a self.
There is no self.
Yeah, then we don't have to like identify with it and we can change it. It's great. So, the next verse, should a person do good, let them do it again and again. Let them form a desire for it. For blissful is the accumulation of good. Do you notice how it feels when we read the one about the evil action? How it feels when we read the one about the good action?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you can tell that you are cultivating a mind that loves the goodness. Wonderful. I guess otherwise you wouldn't be here, I think.
Can it ever be that you do good but you don't take pleasure in it?
Well, I think there's some mixed intentions there. You know, because the kind of thing I can imagine that would fit that sort of circumstance is, you know, if you're doing something good, but you actually are underneath harboring some jealousy or some resentment, and then you don't take pleasure in doing the good thing for this person. And then, of course, that underneath stuff still has a toxicity to it, and you're gonna, kind of still that is carrying forward in your mind stream. So the beautiful thing to do then is to be aware of it and turn towards it and recognize that this too can be uprooted and let go of. It may be well with the person who does evil actions as long as the evil isn't ripened. But when it does ripen, then the person who does evil sees the painful results of their evil deeds. Maybe
Maybe they don't care.
Well, sometimes the mind can be so messed up that you just blame everything else, I mean, I know someone who was stealing from the company they worked for, and stealing from their relatives, like the father-in-law, and all different kinds of things. Eventually, the law caught up with them. They went to jail. Their story was, I've been framed. They never really took any responsibility or acknowledged what they were doing and that it was wrong. So that's pretty like deluded.
Is that like a sociopathic illness in the
I
brain?
guess there's something going on there. You know, it's pretty, yeah. To use a John Gunn, I was like, yeah.
And that could be based on something that happened in their past. Where
Yeah.
that's what they learned, and they don't really know the other way, like better way.
It's all conditioning.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
It just does.
And then, you
Yeah,
know,
conditioning.
I was reading some writing about someone who was a counselor of some kind, therapist maybe, who was working in prisons, who kind of took this job without really like necessarily wanting to do this, and came in with the idea of these people really are evil, you know, kind of idea. And then the more they were listening and, you know, hearing the stories of what had happened in the past and all that stuff, it's like there's no one undeserving of compassion. And to see that, you know, the conditioning that comes in to a person's life, and it's not like we start as blank slates when we're born. And who knows, you know, I mean, this could be lifetimes, right? Lifetimes of something. It's the beauty is something like the Angulimala story, where there's a big shift and you see what's going on, and then, you know, able to let go of that whole pattern. Hopefully that's something can happen in a person's life to really help them turn away from what's really so toxic and you know, brings so much pain and suffering to themselves and others.
Would it be also applicable to see this just as our own mind and like the craving cycle?
Sure.
Like the arising of, you know, desire, and then, okay, you know, did we go for it? We go for it. And then, you know, sort of this, it's almost like there's all this opportunity as desire. I don't know, like maybe desire and evil are not
Not quite the same, probably, because a lot of the things we desire don't really create that kind of harm to others so much.
Yeah.
You know, like I want to eat something I probably shouldn't eat, or maybe even just want to take the biggest piece of pie and let other people have this piece of pie. You know, kind of selfish kind of action. It's not evil, right? But it's really a good thing to observe and train ourselves with. Did you want to say something, Eve?
Oh, you saw me do this. Yeah, I was curious, what does it mean when evil ripens?
Yeah, so there's a word for it in Pali. It's called vipaka kama. It's what comes back to us.
Paka kama?
Paka kama.
Paka kama.
Yeah, it's what comes back to us as a result of our actions. And of course, can be the results from good things or bad results from bad things. And sometimes you can really notice, you really get the sense of exactly, you know, like how something's coming back. The example I often use is like if you start your day in a bad mood and grumpy with whoever you're living with, there's probably going to be a result from that. You're going to notice that's not going to go well. And, you know, that's one way to see a kind of common example, but there's heavier examples, and there's more, you know, powerful things that happen. We don't necessarily see the connection, but we can to some degree. And then, of course, there's all these situations where you think, well, look at these people doing such horrible things, and it seems like they get away with it entirely.
Exactly.
You know, but really they're miserable. They're living miserable lives, even if they don't realize it,
Uh-huh.
because they don't even know what it's like to be peaceful and happy.
So like they might be sort of like a hungry ghost.
They might be like a hungry ghost, or kind of something worse even. And then, what the Buddha is saying is ultimately it comes back on you unless you do something to change your direction. It ultimately comes back. And the beauty of this is that we can trust the good karma. Like we keep putting in good causes and conditions, and the good results come. And I love that part, to be able to, have some trust, even if you don't know how something's going to work out, that you've been putting in, generosity and kindness and honesty and fairness, and that it's going to come back. And I think I've mentioned this before. It kind of surprises me because, my parents weren't Buddhist. But my dad was a farmer, and he had a small business, and so you do a lot of work that you don't get paid for when you're your boss, or you have some kind of endeavor like that, right? But he said one day, I realized if I do an hour of work, I will get an hour of pay. I don't know when, I don't know how, but I believe that that's what's going to happen. And yeah, that's kind of a natural understanding of vipaka karma. It comes back.
Oh, it comes back.
Comes around. The very, like basic, back there in Dhammapada, Indiana, what goes around comes around. We all kind of know this is how it goes.
It's sort of intuitive and like common sense, and sort of a universally sort of recognized idea. I think what's hard I guess it sort of entails a certain amount of faith, because you don't know how, when.
Yep.
But what is also there perhaps is that in doing good actions, there's just the experience of yourself that feels good.
Yes. So you get that immediate
Immediate.
result too. I like you work hard at something wholesome and you accomplish it, and there's a good feeling.
Mm.
Give something to someone, especially, you can tell this is really good for them. This is something they need. And it really feels good to be able to do that for them. And so, yeah, you do get that result. And it's kind of funny. I came into this life, I guess, because as a young child, I wondered, is there any such thing as a completely selfless action? Because I felt like no matter what I did that was good, there was a good feeling that comes back. Is there really a selfless action? And now I know there's a selfless everything. It's
Yeah.
self thing, it's like, that's really not where the action is anyway, And it's good. It's good to feel good, but it's good. This is a good thing. This is natural. This is really.
I have an adage that I kind of tell myself, which is, being nice is its own reward.
Yeah.
Whether it's received, there's just something that feels good about it, something rewarding.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually raised this with Orange Sofer last week because of the same thing. When I do something good, I felt like there's a lot of sort of ego involvement in that because it feels good. And so he looked at it from two perspectives, and one was the nonviolent communication perspective of the needs that are met, my needs that are met when I'm being generous. And there are many needs that are being met when I'm generous, for connection and for expressing love and supporting people. So that was very nice. And then he said, from the Dharma perspective, that sense of self is just something else that will arise. That ego sense. It's just something that the mind will do that will come and go. And we just need to just be aware of that and not beat myself up because that self happens to be arising at that time.
Yeah. And also I think it's good. That's good. And it's also to notice when the sense of self is involved and when it isn't, like it has to, if you see, oh yeah, that my ego is taking a little bit of credit here and, whatever. But there are times, a lot of that good feeling, it doesn't really about the self. And actually noticing that, like when you want to do something that's good, what part of it is wanting others to see that it's good? What part of it is to get some kind of a reward back? And what part of it is just the doing what's good? It's and like Dodge and Gunhouse say, do good for the sake of goodness. Practice for the sake of practice, not so the self gets something. Like me, I'm gonna get something out of this practice. I'm gonna get samadhi, or I'm gonna get jhana, or I'm gonna get, because we're very limited when we're coming from that place. And to really know that we can feel good without it being the sense of self that feels good. And to get a sense of that difference.
And I think that when one does good, even if there's a sense of self involved, that gets, by continuing to do good, the heart opens, the self dissolves. That's part of the process of the self dissolving. And it's just a natural part of it.
Yeah.
It couldn't be otherwise, because the heart gets bigger and the sense of self diminishes. That's just the way it works.
Conditioning.
Huh?
Conditioning. It is a different, putting in the causes and conditions for that to happen.
That's
but what
process.
Oren said is crucial about the awareness of that being the sense of self there, and not being judgmental, not being harsh, but this is like a little ego hit. Ooh. Let's not go there. We can see it for what it is, and then that helps the heart to grow more. And actually, I know I've told you this before, but there's a winter retreat that I was at Chithurst, and I was having so many regrets and memories of regrettable things from the past. And I was really having, when you're in like a retreat like that for 3 months, these things can come up and be very strong. And Ajahn Suchito had offered that anybody who wanted to could come to see him, and I went to see him. And I told him I have all these regrets about things I've done in the past. And he said, well, I doubt that any of it has been very bad. And I thought, well, you don't know, do you? And then he started to talk about Angulimala, and I kind of went, oh God, like compare me to Angulimala. This isn't gonna do it for me, But then he said, just think of how big Angulimala's heart had to be to hold all that. And I thought, this is good. This is interesting. Like I have to grow the heart to hold whatever it was that I had done in the past. So this idea that, you can even intentionally say, okay, let's let the heart be bigger so it can hold all that in a way that really is healing.
Oh, that's very nice.
So beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ajahn Suchito.
It's the old salt in the glass of water and salt in the oceans, or
Yeah. And we keep, in a sense, when we keep remembering these things from the past, whether we're blaming ourselves or blaming someone else, if we keep thinking about that, we keep adding more salt. We keep it going. And that's also, there's vipaka kama for that. We keep it going, and we don't have to let it go. Maybe there's no way to resolve it, and whatever the other person that we think, really did something to us, whatever they're thinking, whatever they did, whatever they admitted or not, or they changed or not, who cares? This is about your mind. That's what we have control or influence over. And so letting that go, they're going to have to find their own way, whatever they did or whoever they are. That's not the point for us. But we don't want to perpetuate that into the future. Back to Joyce's favorite quote, You know, you keep thinking those things. You just perpetuate that more in the future. We don't want to become that whatever victim or whatever role we think we have. We don't want to keep that going. We want to let go of that kind of thinking.
And I'm in love with the power of punya, you know, which we
Yeah.
we translate as merit. And it's so, you know, every good thing we do, whether we even know it's a good thing or not, it's creating this like nectar of goodness that will flow, and it makes the world better, and we don't know it. But it's really worth doing because it has an impact.
Yeah, and the next verse, you're leading right into the next verse, and I love your poetic way of putting it, because here we go. It may be ill with the doer of good, as long as the good has not ripened. It's kind of an odd way to say it, but it might not feel like things are going very well. But when the good does ripen, then the doer of good sees the pleasant result of their good deeds. The nectar coming back.
And it does come back. That's what's so amazing. But you don't do it because it's going to come back. You just do it because it's going to flow.
No, and if we are doing it because it comes back, it's tainted, and we see that and we go, oh no.
Yeah.
I'm doing this because this is good to do.
Yeah. So
just for the sake of goodness.
Maybe I'm delusional, but it's just like,
That's great.
I know this is spreading.
Yes. This is a good thing, Karen. Do not think lightly of evil, saying, it will not come back to me. Oh, we hear that. But drop by drop is the water pot filled. Likewise, the fool, gathering it little by little, fills themselves with evil.
We'll see.
Or not, but it's happening.
I believe that's true. It's
Yeah.
just,
I know.
it's a question of time.
Yeah.
And that one I find really interesting. There's like little niggly things that we do that go, well, this is not such a horrible thing. And you start realizing that you kind of have a habit of doing that, and like drops in that bucket, you know?
Yeah. It's really good to, we were listening to the interview that the Clear Mountain monks did with Bhante Rahula from Mexico. So he's in Guadalajara, Mexico, where Anagarika Sarana went after she left our training with us, went to Guadalajara. She knew about him and his place, and she got involved there. And Memo, who's, some of you know from online, he lives there, and he is very involved with Bhante Rahula. Well, Bhante Rahula came on a trip, and he was interviewed by the Clear Mountain monks. And I would really encourage listening to it. You can find it on YouTube easily. And he was talking about being honest with ourselves, being brutally honest with ourselves, which is always the way I think of it too. We've really got to we notice that. Oh, I'm acting like this is not important. Like it's okay to do this little not nice thing or not honest thing or not whatever thing. But it really does kind of degrade our own internal goodness.
What if I tend to do the opposite. Notice it and then not forgive,
beat yourself up over it again and again and again.
Yeah, it's not the not noticing, and I don't want to not notice. I'm glad to notice,
right?
But then I'd like to loosen it up a little bit.
Yeah, you have to encourage the mind. You've already milked this for everything you can get out of it. I think it's time to
enough. Take the hair shirt off.
Take off the hair shirt. And try to guide the mind to be more forgiving and go.
Well,
Is there any instruction in Buddhism about like making amends? Like if you know you did
Sure.
evil, like then the right action is just do the right action right away, like versus needing the next right action is to do the next right thing versus to, you know,
Yes.
beat ourselves up.
Yes.
Is that like, and that's also for me when I experienced that, that is a better reminder. It's like, oh, you're going to have something to do after you do this. Like, you know, you're going to have to clean up, right?
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and
That's really good.
you know, is that also a Buddhist?
Yes, it's in there. Maybe not in the same, quite in the same way. There's like there's forgiveness ceremony in the Vinaya, in the monastic forms, and there's like sharing merit. It's a similar kind of idea. You do something good. You do something good for that person or for other beings in this, you know, kind of like, yeah, you do stuff to make up for it. And it's healing. And it is karma adjusting, right? It has a real impact. Yeah, and I like that idea that you training yourself that way. It's like, okay, you do this, but then there's going to be something you're going to need to do to clean that up. It's good.
Well, I have a situation with a fruit fly.
Oh,
You know, this comes
Just
up
one?
regularly. It's in my husband's room. There's this fruit fly. I don't know what their lifespan is. It seems forever. And I have lots of opportunities to kill it, and I don't, and I want to. So where does that fit in?
Well, you have to work with that wanting to and realize that to kill anything is not good. And
Well,
I remember Ajahn Jayasaro saying, when you get to the point in your practice where you're the life of a malarial mosquito
I just heard it say
is worth more than, well, kind of like worth more than your own life, or equal anyway, your practice really takes off. So it's kind of like, you know, like,
oh, so I should be grateful to this fruit fly.
you're not carrying malaria. Okay.
No, grateful that I'm getting this opportunity to
Ajahn fruit fly. That's right.
It kind of brings up something about thinking about, you know, making amends, apologies, and so forth. Because I remember what really struck me recently was the story about a monk who was ill, and nobody really liked him, so nobody was really
Oh yeah.
and so
Or
forth.
taking
And
care of them.
Buddha and Ananda went in, cleaned him up, you know,
Yeah.
brought him some food, and then he brought all the monks together, and he just gave them a lecture about, or a talk about, you know, how to be a good caregiver and the importance of that.
Yeah, and this is your family now. You're not here, you know, none of us have our family here. We have to take care of each other, no matter what you think of each other,
Yeah.
you know?
So there was no, you got to go to apologize to him.
Well, that's true. Yeah, yeah. That wasn't the way you make amends. The way you make amends is by doing it right now. And that's kind of what you were saying too. I mean, when I think about apologies, I think what's important is to know why you're going to apologize. Is that going to help the person or is it not? Are you doing it just for yourself? Because a lot of times you bring something up from the past with somebody, it's just rewounding.
Yeah.
You know, it causes more discomfort and more, but to really be clear in oneself, am I avoiding this because I don't want to do it, or am I not going to do it because it's better for them if I let it go over there and really do the work internally? And sometimes people also, I can't apologize to my father anymore because he's dead now. And it's like, that's okay. You can do that work inside. You don't have to have the other person involved. But if it's going to be something that actually helps to clear the relationship, great. You know, do that, making amends directly with the person. But so often we're so stuck in our own, like me and my feelings. We don't think about that. You know.
Can I share an experience exactly like what we were saying? So I have a really bad habit of like, I can get really upset on the phone when like, so I was trying to get an appointment with physical therapy and the poor reception was like, it was not happening. And I was like getting escalated. And I was like, I gotta get off this phone. And I was like, I was really uncomfortable with that because I knew it wasn't her problem. And I was like,
it wasn't her fault.
right. And I was like, well, it probably doesn't matter. She probably didn't pay attention to it. And I was like, no, this does not feel good to me. And I called again and I was like, can I speak to so and so? And she was like, no, she's on the phone. I was like, could you tell her I'm so sorry? And then I don't know how I got the message back. And she said, no one has ever done that. And you have just made our day.
Wow.
It was like so outside of the norm to like actually to take responsibility that I was out of line, so that it escalated. Like I had to like really work on it. Like, does it matter? Do I just let what you're saying? Like, just let it go. And I was like, no, I'm not gonna let it go. And it like lifted all of us up. Like,
Great.
Just like what you're saying, something small can actually just feel really like when we do. Anyway, it was just an experience of this, what you're saying, of like really wrestling with something that seems small, but I think
Makes a big difference.
makes a big, I don't know.
And what a lesson for your whole system, and for them too. It's beautiful. And when I think about the kinds of things you might not want to go back and talk about, it could be something pretty big between family members or whatever. But that bringing that up is just going to bring up this whole thing that's painful for people, and it's not going to help.
Right, there's that too. Like, when is it
going to be good for them, and when is it going to be good? Or when is it not going to be good for them? I'm not going to do this for my selfish reasons, so that I feel better. I can make that happen anyway. And then there's the beautiful, in the Vinaya, there's 7 ways, I think, of settling a dispute or settling a legal situation according to the Vinaya. And then, the very last one is covering over with grass. And sometimes you just need to cover over with grass. Not necessarily your own bad action, but some kind of conflict. You have a conflict, people aren't listening to each other, they see the way it happened very differently. And then you just realize, continuing to talk about this is going nowhere.
Yeah.
It's only making things worse. It's time to cover it over with grass. And it's like, okay, hi, I love you. Yeah. We just start here and go on, and cover that whole thing over with grass.
Sometimes it's a matter of simply learning to tolerate within ourselves our discomfort.
Yeah.
Situations.
Well, discomfort is dukkha.
Yeah.
So what do you do with dukkha? You turn towards that feeling in your body, and you just drop the story entirely. So it's not about what happened. It's not about who said what to whom. It's about, I feel bad inside. And why do I feel bad inside? Probably because this has happened over and over again. And if I look at that and I stay with that feeling in the body and I work through that old pattern or that old woundedness, I can become free of it. And so that's really what we need to do with all suffering, and become really free. Yes.
So did you say to turn towards it and let it go? Is that what you said?
Turn towards it and feel it in the body. So, we can feel very upset, whatever kind of upset, angry, hurt, whatever. And then when we drop the story, and what I mean by that is whatever the circumstance was, the person involved, whatever they did or said, or whatever we did or said, or whatever is happening, you just kind of set that aside, because you really know how it feels. And it's, you identify where it is in your body. Is it in your gut? Is it in your heart area? Is it in your throat or somewhere else? Usually it's between here and here, you know, it's like somewhere. And then you pay attention to that the way it is. Is it, how big is it? You know, oh, it's like this big. Or it's like this big. Or it's like this. You know, maybe it's tight. Maybe it's really hard. What's its texture? Maybe it's spongy, maybe it's spiky. But all of those inquiries really are about establishing mindfulness. This is the part that's observing what that feeling is like. And you observe that feeling and you observe how it changes as you observe it, as you watch it. And then you can also investigate it, inquire into it. And one of the powerful questions is, where have I felt this before? What's my first memory of having felt this way? And that's one way that we can start to understand this pattern that's been conditioned into me, into my, you know, what I think of as a self that is a bunch of process, you know. And by the way, next Saturday at 2:00, I'm gonna lead a Feeding Your Demons session online.
Oh, wow.
It's going to be on the same link as the morning program. How do I apply the Dhamma to this? And it's just for community members. We're not going to post it.
Oh,
Everybody's invited, but
at what time?
2:00.
Okay.
2:00 on the 20th of December with the How Do I Apply link.
Thank you.
And it's just going to be, you know, a little introduction to the Feeding Your Demons process. And it's a great process for this kind of work to be present with, and, you know, invite people to, you know, choose an incident. And all you do with the incident is, okay, when this happened, this is how I felt. You let go of the this happened and you just stay with how it felt. And then I'll lead you through this. There's a framework, and it's really powerful, or can be. Yeah, Joyce.
It's not going to be about this, but I just can't find a way to get into this. So I just want to know about the Clear Mountain recording you mentioned that was online.
Yeah, it's Bhante Rahula. If you search YouTube, Clear Mountain, and even just Rahula, I think it'll come right up.
They have all their interviews.
No, I don't need to know all that. I just wanted to know how I would get into the one that
Yeah.
I recommended.
He's so vibrant, this guy. He's so upbeat and funny and fun. It's really worth it. He's a good.
How do you spell his name, please?
Rahula.
That's the Buddha's son, right?
Yeah.
The name.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there are more Bhante Rahulas in the world, but this one's Mexican. And this interview, well, it'll be obvious. They also interviewed a different Bhante Rahula, and he's old and white, and that's not the one.
Okay. That's the one I thought of.
Oh yeah, he's a classic. That one.
The one with Gujarati.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right.
Yeah,
The hippie one?
the hippie one.
Yeah, hippie to happiness or something.
Yeah, that one. That's not the one.
No.
This is Bhante Rahula from Mexico. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
He's got a couple of videos. They're both good.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, there's like one that I think at Clear Mountain, and the other one's more interview style, maybe.
Okay. Which one did we watch?
We watched someone at Clear Mountain.
It's at Clear Mountain pretty recently.
It was because I saw some of it too.
This
I would
year.
say in the last few months.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
maybe July.
Mm.
Okay, so now we have the same verse repeated on the good side. Do not think lightly of good, saying, it will not come to me. Do you ever do that? Like discount your good
Yes.
actions? Are you kidding? I do that all the time.
Raised in a Protestant world where you're expected to do good and you do good because you avoid punishment, yes?
Oh,
Or we just don't notice the good that we've done.
I know, we just don't discount it
It's not
because,
it's
well,
not-
we
You're
think we're
supposed to.
gonna build up our ego if we think about it, but
Yeah.
we already know
Yeah.
to notice the difference of when it's ego driven and when it isn't. So, okay, do not think lightly of good, saying it will not come to me. Drop by drop is the water pot filled. Likewise, the wise person, gathering it little by little, fills themselves with good. Hey, do you need to print that and put it on your
Yeah.
bathroom mirror?
Inside my head.
The bumper sticker right in there. Yeah. Just as a trader with a small escort and great wealth would avoid a perilous route, or just as one desiring to live avoids poison, even so should one shun evil deeds. And if on the hand there's no wound, one might even carry poison in it. Poison does not affect one who's free from wounds. And for them who does no evil, there is no ill. So it's like, okay, we live in the world.
This stuff is so good.
Isn't it so good?
And it's written so well. It's so got a punch.
Pithy.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. So, yeah,
Be poetic.
Yeah.
So
yes.
free of wounds. So
Who's that?
poison.
Okay.
Yeah, right. I'm looking at my poor hand.
Gotten, we've healed from. Like fine dust thrown against the wind, evil deeds fall back upon the fool who offends an inoffensive, pure, and guiltless person. Aw. I mean, I imagine intentionally, because anybody can feel offended by something we say, right? Communication is so fraught with getting the wrong impression. But if we're careless and harsh, if a person is, really, lying or deceiving or something like that, or harming someone, it really does come back to us. I like that, the dust and the wind. Yeah. How's our time? We got time.
Yeah.
Some are born in the womb. Yeah, oh my goodness. The wicked are born in hell. The devout go to heaven. The canker-free attain nibbana. Okay.
Very biblical there.
One time somebody said to me, I really love Buddhism. There's no hell. I'm like, well, I guess you haven't read the suttas, huh? It's okay. Yeah, but it's really useful to think about, like we're saying, about how you feel when we do good things and how we feel when we do bad things or wicked or, things. And, we create that hell in our own mind. We create that heaven when we do good things and we feel that goodness coming back to us, that nectar you were talking about. And is there such a place? And I think I've told you, like, this monk, Ajahn Panyawadu, who was training with Ajahn Mahabua. And someone asked him, are the devas real? And he said, they're as real as you or I.
Wow. He said that?
He said that.
Because he's an Englishman. I mean,
Yeah,
right?
but
I wouldn't have thought he would say that.
Oh, I mean, it's like, we think we're real.
Oh, I
Are
get
we
it.
real?
I'm
Yeah.
thinking of it. Yeah.
Oh.
Yes. That just that was.
Yeah.
So the way the mind
Nuance.
works, there is heaven and there is hell.
Yeah. Yeah.
We put ourselves there. I have a friend who says, yeah, I create my own private hell in here, it's in my mind. Or here. Where do you think that is? So yeah, so there are results.
But I mean, some people.
And there's a way out. That last one. You know, when we let go of everything we're clinging to, we don't have defilements anymore, if you want to use that word, you know, like those desire, the aversion, the greed, hatred, delusion. When you've seen through that, there's no harm. Complete peace, complete happiness. What, did you want to say something?
Oh, I was thinking, so some people see the devas. They see them, well, Ajahn Mun, I mean,
Oh yeah,
talk to them.
all the time. And the Buddha
not
thought, like,
Mahaprabhu.
when the Buddha was dying, did you know? He asked this monk to move because the devas were not able to see him because this monk was standing in the way.
So
there's all these devas who want to see and they can't because get down.
So there's that sense of, I don't want to say materiality, but a realness in, that kind of view.
Do you have that view?
No, I don't.
Well, that's a damn shame.
It is. It is. But then what you said about Punya Dhamma, Punya Wado, it's like, so if this self is not real, I mean, the self is not real. I guess what I'm trying to say is there's levels of knowing that. There's like communicating with devas and seeing them, and they're real in like a material, conventional way, so to speak. And then there's a sense of knowing that the devas are there because you just can feel a goodness, but you don't have a.
I think it's actually, personally, my experience is that the devas are as real as we are. Yeah. And the Buddha taught, and many monks and nuns talked to them the way they would talk to human beings. And so, and you can also have experiences where they've been intervening.
Yeah.
And like the Bahia story that I talked about this morning, where this he wasn't a Buddhist monk, but he was a alms mendicant of a different group, the bark clothed ascetics. And he's like, he's getting this thought in his meditation, in this world, I am one of those who is enlightened or on the path to enlightenment. And then this deva, who had been his relative in the past, cared about him and approached him and said, Bahia, you're not enlightened and you're not practicing in any way that you're not on the path to enlightenment. Mm-hmm. And Bahia's like, so where can I find someone who's enlightened? And then the deva tells him about the Buddha, and he's at Savatthi. These things happen. Someone told me recently that the devas were yelling at her every time she was in meditation that she had to deliver a message to me. So she did. You're just not tuned in yet.
No, I guess, yeah, I guess.
Sorry.
No, I'm just trying to. So somebody once asked Lumpur Pasno, has he ever had an experience with Davis? And he said, no, I don't. I just.
I'm not talking. I'm going to have a word with him.
He said, I'm just not tuned in that way.
Oh, okay.
So my point is.
How long ago that was? Never mind.
I don't know. I honestly don't know, but I think. But my point is, I'm not talking about whether the devas are real or not. I'm talking about the self is not real, but there's only a certain degree to which I know that.
Right.
Where I am now.
Right.
I mean, that's evolving, hopefully.
Right.
But I don't know.
Well, and that's understandable, right?
And
because
that's saying those different levels of the deva where you might sense them. in one sense or not at all, but then where you actually have a conversation with them. I'm just talking about the degrees to which
Yeah.
we know things.
Yeah, I'm sorry if I'm teasing you too.
No, and I don't mind being teased. I don't mind.
That's why I can
being
do that with you.
You can do, you, listen, it's no, you know what, Dhamma. I like that. But, yeah, so
yeah.
I'm just trying to get at
Okay, so
those different levels that
obviously
we are
you're
at.
sitting there.
Yeah,
And we're all here, sitting here. Conventional reality is that we have these forms, we have all this conditioning. You know, it takes so much persistence to look at this and see that it's not solid. So much persistence because we're so caught up in this belief and this perception that this is a solid entity, and we want to cling to it. So, yes, there are beings in other realms, if you want to put it that way, unseen beings around us. Every religion talks about it. Angels, spirits, you know, because people do, depending on different causes and conditions, have experiences with those beings. And they are as real as we are. But it's all process. How much of reality just comes out of the mind? What is the mind? Is that a personal thing? No. So yeah, there's levels of understanding that, all of that. Obviously, we don't understand it completely until we're awakened, or once we understand it completely, we are awakened. And then we don't cling to any of it. But we also still have compassion and kindness. We care about living beings. We, you know, are going to be doing good in the world. Even though at that point there's no good karma coming back to you, because it just, it's like you got Teflon. It just falls away. You know, it's nothing's going to stick anymore. You know. Yeah. Yeah.
Can I ask what a deva is?
Oh, it's like an angel, a heavenly being. It's just a Pali word.
So sometimes I experience grace.
Yeah. How do you experience grace?
I just feel, wow, it's grace. I don't know how. I don't see it.
Yeah. I mean, do you have an example?
No, not unless I'm in the moment of experiencing it.
Got it. Yeah. Yeah. Grace. It's part of, I mean, someone asked the Bodhi once. He was actually here in Berkeley at remember when we had the chanting, Tipitaka chanting gatherings here in Berkeley at the Mangalang Center?
This year?
It was what? Oh no, this was before. I think the pandemic killed it.
No, I think it's happening.
Yeah, they're still doing the chanting.
Are they?
I think they are.
Okay. Or again, or whatever. But anyway, there was one of those events, and Bhikkhu Bodhi was invited to give a talk. And gave this talk, and one of the questions was, is there such a thing as grace in Buddhism? And he said he experiences it, I think he said in two ways, but I can't remember exactly how he put it. The part that stuck in my mind was he said sometimes because of, you know, causes and conditions, you feel an uplift that carries you. And he said, it's like wind in a sail. You can't see the wind, but it's pushing you forward. And he sees that as grace.
I also heard him, I think this is, I'm saying it correctly. He was giving a series, a lecture, and somebody asked him about devas and nagas and all those other realms. And they kind of were saying, well, how do you believe that? And he compared it to a shortwave radio.
Mm.
He said, right now, if I told you that people were speaking German and Chinese and Finnish and all of that in this room right now, would you believe me? And he said, it's happening, but you have to get the right frequency. If you're not on the right
That's a
frequency,
great answer.
isn't that a good answer?
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said, you're not going to hear it unless you're tuned to the right frequency.
Wow.
So that
That's
was a
it.
good, yeah.
That's it.
And sometimes you just fall into that frequency by
Yeah.
accident.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. It feels like accident, but you've probably been putting in some conditions
Yeah,
that
we
make
came in that
that
dial.
open. Yeah, you're messing with the dial. So
Exactly.
yes, it helps to open the mind. Like instead of reading these things in the suttas or hearing about the Buddha talking to the devas and going, yeah, stuff. Instead of that, it's like, oh, wonder how that works. And then sure enough, maybe, I mean, we have no doubt that the Hermitage came to us by help of the devas.
That's great.
Yeah, it's grace. I mean, we were renting in Millbrae, then later Mountain View, and it's a lot. It's expensive. And Allison in particular would say to us from time to time, "Wow, we really have to find a way for KBV to have a place of its own, to have property, because this is so unsustainable."
How did it happen?
Well,
The deva.
this person, so we were renting a house in downtown area of Mountain View, and it was big enough that we could have day-longs. And there was a person who came to just a couple of day-longs. We didn't really know this person, and they came to us just out of the blue and said, I really want you to have forest property. And I was on a retreat with Bhante and Alio. And in the middle of that retreat, this thought came to me. All the other bhikkhunis, they have property, they have forest. And those bhikkhunis, they don't have any forest. They should have forest. They should go to how can I force them to go to the forest? And she said, well, I'm going to give you a sizable donation that is determined for forest property. So, the rules of a nonprofit is that when someone gives a donation that is designated, you have to use it for that purpose. Yeah. So it was a lot of money, more than we've ever seen. And we thought, well, we don't know this person very well. Let's wait and see if they really are committed to this and want to do it or not. So we gave it time, but they kept wanting to do it. And so then finally we started to look for something, and the amount of money, because so we thought about, well, what kind of forest property would we want? And we both like the redwood forest. And Ayya Chitananda really, the interesting part of this was, for maybe about 6 months or so before this happened, she was really kind of like, I just can't take living in town anymore. When she came to live with me and I was in town, she's like, I really need nature, and I really don't want to live here, but I want to live with you. So I'm going to sacrifice that. But after 7 years or something, 5 years, whatever it was, just like, oh God,
A lifetime.
She's like, I need a hermitage. Where's my hermitage? I need a hermitage. But she didn't say that to anybody else. I heard it, but nobody else. Except I think the Davies. Well, someone else. And so we talked about, we didn't want to be too far away from the people we had been serving. And we wanted to still have a place for people to come to that was convenient in town. And so we started looking in the Santa Cruz Mountains and at Redwood Forest, because that's what really called to us. And she's like, I want to have a creek running through it and ferns. So we're looking at properties that are just like raw land. I mean, the amount of money was a lot, but it wasn't, like, you know what it takes to,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so our board president said, why don't you look for a place that's more money? Just to, like the next range of, maybe that we can make a negotiate, or who knows what happens. So we wound up finding the place where we're at now. It's 14.5 acres of redwood forest, with a creek running through it, and amazing ferns, and also mushrooms, which you didn't even talk about at the time. It's loving that. And the difference in the amount that was offered and the amount that was asked was $125,000. So our board made an offer for $115,000 plus the donation. They knocked $10,000 off, and the two of us were like, okay, we're only going to do this if there's cash. There's not going to be any attempt to get a loan, just cash. And then the realtor told us that once they accept our offer, we would have 72 hours to show that we had the money in the bank. Wow. How's that going to happen? How's that going to happen? And some of you remember this well because you helped. And we were just going to East Bay Dhamma gathering, and that we were at that one church. Not
Yeah, where the theology school is. Yeah, the theology school.
Yeah. And we were there, and
Yeah.
we told Allison what was happening, and she had been like alert to wanting to make something happen anyway. And she told people what was going on, and we said, okay, we are willing to accept loans, no interest loans if you're up for like that, doing that. And so various people came forward with large amounts of money.
I was just thinking about that the other day, like, holy shit, that check, I didn't think twice. And more, and then how quickly you paid me back.
Well,
that's what blew my mind.
Okay, yeah. So we had 72 hours to show that we had the money in the bank, and the person who was making the major part of the loan hadn't moved to the things over yet, and then they did that like right away, and then these other checks came in, and in 72 hours we had the money in the bank.
Wow.
When did you pay it back?
Oh, wait.
The Davis, that's what
So-
Davis.
Then the realtor maybe even right away, I don't know, but the realtor said the closing is going to be 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Have you ever bought a property where the closing is a 2-week period? I mean,
You're like, what's wrong with
never heard it. But then we, okay, the inspections and stuff have been done. We're just going to go for it. So there was still a fundraising effort going on, like on Facebook. It was showing how much we needed and how much we had. And it's, like people were giving like $5, people we never even heard of, $5 here and $20 there and 20,000 there and 10,000 there. And it's like, wow, we're just like, it's happening so fast. By the end of the 2 weeks, well, right the night before it was going to close, a man came to visit the Vihara in Mountain View. And he didn't know us, but he knew people who knew us. And he said, I've been watching the fundraiser, and I want to be the one who finishes it.
Oh.
And he said, I looked when the fund needed 60,000. And I'm like, And then I saw it go down to 40,000. But now I want to know, what is it? And I want you to include whatever you have to do to repair the place, because it needed some septic work. We knew what that bid was already. So we tallied it up and said 20,000. And he's like, I can do it.
Wow.
He was so excited.
Wow.
And we were like, and it closed on her birthday.
Oh,
Just for the Davis
Yeah,
to make a
the
point.
Davis,
This was for
okay.
honesty. You get your hermitage.
20th.
August 20th.
20th. Oh,
Right, that's fun.
yeah, that's why I thought it was. That's why I thought I knew, but I guess I didn't.
See, this is punya at work.
What?
Punya at work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Davis is
The Davis
You don't have to
kicking-
think about it. Don't worry
Yeah,
about it.
it'll happen.
wow.
We'll give you money back soon.
Amazing, inspiring, and
Yeah.
it's like, and there's, like, it's humbling.
Yeah.
I mean, we need to get in line and work really hard.
Yeah.
Take good care of it,
And then y'all would come and say, we're becoming mountain women.
And I hug her, it's like, one day she said she was washing her face and she looked down and this big bicep was there. I know that. Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
It's good to hear the story.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Grace,
Big.
yeah,
Yeah,
Davis.
it's what
Yeah.
happens when you do that. You see fruit. It ripens.
Leave that fruit fly alone.
That's right. First fly, it's okay. You're okay.
That's a great.
Yeah.
Neither in the sky, nor in mid-ocean, nor by entering into mountain clefts. Nowhere in the world is there a place where one may escape from the results of their evil deeds. This isn't going to end on a high note, I have to tell you. You already had the high note, I guess. The last verse in this chapter. Neither in the sky nor in mid-ocean, nor by entering the mountain clefts. Nowhere in the world is there a place where one will not be overcome by death.
Yeah.
But I think that's uplifting.
Maybe that is the high
Because whether you're evil or not,
Right.
there it is. This is the
And it's a reminder to do all the good we can while we have the opportunity. And as the Buddha said over and over, we fare on from that point according to our time.
So what does overcome mean?
Oh, that we're all gonna die.
Avoid.
We're all gonna die.
Yeah.
There's just that we got born, so there's no other way. It just happens.
what do they call it? The 5 reflection.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Remember 5 things that no one can avoid. And then the Buddhist, there's a sutta where he's the 5 situations. It's 5, right? Situations no one can avoid. You can't avoid aging. There's no way you can stop it.
Remembrances.
Yeah, but it's a little different. This sutta is a little bit different. It's no one can avoid aging. You can't avoid if you're subject to becoming ill. There's no way to avoid death. If you're born. And there's no way to avoid when something is subject to get lost, that it won't get lost. I mean, there's like we lose things all the time, and to just recognize that anything can be lost, and then to not fret over it because is it just natural? And things get lost. And the last one is anything that can be destroyed. Can be destroyed. And to appreciate that. You remember when the Oakland fire?
Yeah.
I don't know if you know Rana and Peter.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah.
Monica Batsnick and Peter, and they had gone out for the day to the beach. And when they came back, the house was burnt to the ground. Everything. And I don't know how long it took or how soon this came, but when they would tell that story, it's like, that was so freeing. You just get to start over. And Peter said that was when he started writing. He said before that he was so like into his books. He had this whole library of books that all burnt down, completely gone. And he said, I stopped looking things up and I started writing. So that's really what had happened.
Wow.
It's like, it was so that they got to enjoy a day at the beach and be, instead of being all stressed out.
Yeah.
In the
Or
scary
in
city.
danger.
Yeah,
Because
in
people
danger.
didn't get
Yeah,
out. Some people couldn't get
They
out.
weren't in
It's been so
danger.
freeing. But no, I'm just hanging out at the beach having a good day, and I get back and I don't have to deal with any of that stuff in that house anymore. Start over.
Yeah, I have several friends.
So that's the result of,
You got friends.
you think about it, like even someone who does a lot of good, has all this good karma, their house might still burn down. Your house might burn down because houses burn down. Anything that can happen to a human being can happen to us. The Buddha said, things like illness, things like weather, things like disasters, things like accidents, things like assaults, that might happen to anybody. Doesn't necessarily result from our karma. Well, that's good to reflect on. Because sometimes we think, oh, that person got attacked. That must be their bad karma. Maybe they attacked someone in the past. And the Buddha said, no, not necessarily. That can just happen because that can happen to a human being.
Right, because one could look at the burning of their house as bad karma.
You could,
Right.
but it doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the good of it is that they weren't there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. They didn't have to go through the anxiety of that or the danger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a friend of mine lost her house that way. Herself and her husband were out on a trip somewhere,
Mhm.
and when they came home,
It was gone.
completely gone.
And then what we do with that is up to us.
Yeah.
Are we gonna like,
Or traumatized of you.
yeah, are we
Yeah.
gonna like go over that and over that and all what I lost and this and this and this and that? Are we just gonna go, well, starting over,
Yeah. Yeah. And this
so many
couple-
burdens gone?
Yeah, this couple did. They just started over.
Great.
Yeah.
But that we have that choice. And even if we have all this karma that says, hey, you need to be worried about your stuff and, like fret over things, we don't have to keep going down that track.
It's the worry one. It's like that after the calamity, it seems more of a choice, maybe. But it's the worrying that it might happen is where I'm more
a choice.
That's
Yeah.
also a choice.
Correct. But then what is it? How do we do it? Well, we do it the way we do all other practice with dukkha. Hey, this worry is dukkha.
Yeah.
This is dukkha. This is agitation in the mind. This is pulling me down. This is ruining my happiness.
Yeah.
I'm gonna feel it. Feel it. Feel what it feels like. Really investigate that. Let it untangle. Let it dissolve. Do that over and over and over again, as many times as it takes.
Yeah.
The first step is knowing that I don't have to feel like this.
Right.
Or if I feel like this, I don't have to take it personally. I don't have to take it seriously. It can be out here. Oh, there's that feeling again. Well,
Yeah.
if we have that distance of mindfulness and awareness, not just the awareness, but the wisdom to see it for what it is, we can overcome it.
Oh, I'm going to take off.
Okay, thank you so much. It's time to go together. Hey, can we chant a blessing for me first?
Oh, yeah.
Just
Because we won't see you for some months.
It's going to be a while.
When are you coming back?
Okay, we're gonna go into retreat on the
Okay.
4th of January for 3 months. Coming out of it on the 2nd of April, and after a couple of days, we're gonna go to Spain and ordain Anagarika Sarana, who is now Sujata, as a Salmonary
Wow.
in Spain. And then we're gonna come back and then we'll meet. And
Okay.
we have to put the dates on the calendar still.
Okay.
And we'll just keep going with the Dhammapada.
Yeah.
Then when we're done, we're gonna start again.
A lot of
We'll still, well, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
good things to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll put the dates on the calendar and on that page.
Yeah.
And another thing that you might want to tune into, because this group, we did Mindfully Facing Disease and Death once, years ago,
Yeah.
with Bhante Nalio's book. We did that. And I'm going to do that while we're on retreat. I'm going to do it on Saturday mornings. And there's already a page on our website under teaching with the suttas that we're going to look at each week. And so if people want to follow with the book and then discuss, like how to mindfully face disease and death, what the Buddha is saying in those suttas, that'll be our Saturday morning program that's going to run throughout the retreat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
So there is something you can
Got to
do.
keep something going.
Yeah.
I just wanted to know if anyone was there sharing.
Oh yeah, it's all recorded. Do you want anything taken out? I don't recall anything particularly personal being said. Well, are you up for this, Elizabeth?
Yeah.
Okay. I think they're all okay, Philip. Thank you.
Thank you, Phyllis.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And the naming is the same format we've used for this series. And the numbers, so we always say what the numbers of the verses are. It starts with 116 and goes through 128. Verses 116 through 128. Okay. Now, lessons. We're going to do this first in Pali and then in English. Would you start? Bhavatu Sabamangalam Rakantu Sabadevata Sabba Buddha Nivavena Sada Soti Bhavantu Te Bhavatu Sabba Mangalam Rakantu Sabba Devata Sabba Dhamma Nivavena Sada Soti Bhavantu Te Bhavatu Sabba Mangalam Rakantu Sabba Devata Sabba Sankha Nirvavena Sada Soti Bhavantu Te. May you have every good blessing. May all the devas protect you. By the power of all the Buddhas, may you ever be well. May you have every good blessing. May all the devas protect you. By the power of all the Dhamma, may you ever be well. May you have every good blessing. May all the devas protect you. By the power of all the Sangha, may you ever be well.
Thank you.
Really valuable retreat time.
Thank you.
So the Saturday mornings, when do they begin?
They just never stop. Huh?
No, well, they won't stop, but in January. So we go into retreat on the 4th, and the next Saturday will be the first one. And there's a whole table on the website.
Okay.
If you go into our website and then you look at the teaching tab, there's a retreat 2026 tab, and then in there it shows all about mindfully facing disease and death and what suttas are going to be done each week with all the dates.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Dhamma, y'all.
Is that blessing written somewhere on your website?
Thank you, Carrie.
Okay, I don't think it's written on the website, but we do have it on our YouTube channel. I think we chant it there. We've got that on our YouTube channel. Take care, Carrie. The English
Thank
and
you.
Polly for this what we just chanted.
What would be cool? How do you find your YouTube channel?
The chanting place. If you just look Karina Buddhist Vihara on YouTube, it'll come up.
Yeah.
And
Just
then,
search
and
for
then it will just say blessings.
it says chanting. Chanting. It's in the chanting playlist.
And then there's a bunch of, it's a playlist, and it could be like every good blessing. That would be the English.
Every good blessing, that's how it starts.
I think so.
I
Every
may have
good
that,
blessing.
or I may have that in writing. I've collected a lot of things over the
You might
years.
have that in writing. Yeah.
I might have that.
Yeah. Yeah, you might.
And you won't be able to hear the melody, the ups and downs, and the melodic.
Thank
part.
you, Philip.
Terrible.
I think we're gonna
Okay.
go.
Okay.
All right.
Good night.
Okay. Bye.
Yeah. Oh, that's fine. I've got a,